everyone should be on the carnivore diet. So many people say to me, oh, do what works best for you. Some people do better on omnivore, some people do better on vegan. This is just absolute nonsense. Please name one species in nature where two different animals eat different diets. Exactly, you can't. And if they ate different diets, they would not be the same species. Yes, I know some animals can eat other stuff, but every single species has its own optimal natural diet. And the same goes with us. We are all the same species, we're humans, we are Homo sapiens, and we all function the best on a specific diet. I mean, it makes sense. We're the only species in nature who has deviated from our species appropriate diet, and we're the only species in nature who is sick. In this video, I'm going to explain why the human's optimal diet is the carnivore diet from an evolutionary, historic, scientific, and logical standpoint. Before I begin, please consider liking and subscribing as it really helps the algorithm get our message out there to a wider audience. Well, how do we determine what is the optimal diet for humans? Firstly, we need to cut out all the things that we should not be eating. Let's start with plants. There isn't really a reason to put plants into our body. Plants are part of an ecosystem and they're in an evolutionary arms race with animals to survive in the ecosystem. Now, animals, they can simply run away or they can defend themselves through physical matters. However, plants can't do this and they are stuck in the ground. So to stop animals and creatures from eating them, they induce chemical warfare. People are so shocked when I tell them this, that plants have defense chemicals. Well, it makes sense. They're a living organism. And I'm pretty sure even in year 10 biology, we did a whole topic on learning about the defense mechanisms of plants. For example, a lot of people that I know have anaphylactic reaction to nuts because it is a plant and it is toxic, we're not meant to eat it. Or when you cook onions, your eyes seem to cry, or when you eat peppers or chilies, your mouth gets really hot. That's the plant's way of telling you to stop eating it. 99% of plants we find in nature are not edible, and some will actually kill us straight away. So the 1% of plants that are actually in grocery stores, or the ones that we do eat, such as broccoli, spinach, kale, who says that these aren't bad for us also? Just because it doesn't kill us straight away, does not mean it is not having effects on our health under the scenes. When I say plants, I don't just mean vegetables. I mean majority of carbs, so this includes tobacco, alcohol, sugar, legumes, grains, lentils. It includes most things you would see in a grocery store. And I know a lot of people know tobacco and alcohol and maybe sugars, they're not good for you. But even things like vegetables, which people do think are good for them, they're just not. There is not a single vegetable that has under 60 carcinogenic compounds in them, which is things that can lead to cancer. Brussels sprouts has a whopping 135 carcinogens in them, and no one likes Brussels sprouts. I mean, there's a reason why when you give them to a kid, they spit it out straight away. Our body's a really, really smart organism, and we can detect toxins and poisons, and our body rejects this food and tells us to stop eating it by spitting it out. Yes, I'm aware that vegetables do have some nutrients in them. However, they are covered with anti-nutrients as well, and toxins which make it harder for our body to actually absorb these nutrients. For example, let's compare two people. Let's say Jim. Jim went to a restaurant and got a nice steak. We have Sarah on the other hand. She went to a restaurant and got a steak and spinach. Well, who do you think would be getting more nutrients? Well, Sarah has steak and spinach, so it would be her, right? Hang on a sec, that's not really the case. Many vegetables, such as spinach, have things in it called anti-nutrients and fiber, which actually blocks the digestion of nutrients. Hence, Jim would be getting more nutrients from his steak. Now, even if plants were these amazing, super dense foods, highly nutritious, there's just absolutely no reason to eat them. Meat has every single essential nutrient in all the perfect optimal ratios for our bodies to not only live on, but to thrive. When I first heard this, I was like, nah, that's bullcrap. Meat only has protein and some iron. But meat actually has every single nutrient. There is not a single vitamin that you can't get from meat that is found in plants. However, there are so many vitamins that you can't get in plants that are found in meat, such as B12, K2, D3. Not only this, but the vitamins that you do actually get from meat are way more bioavailable. Well, what does this mean? It means our body can actually absorb a lot more of these nutrients compared to getting it from plant matter, as I discussed before. Okay, now that we established that we should not go anywhere near plants, and we should absolutely avoid them, what does that leave us with? Well, that could leave us with things such as dirt or eating cardboard, but obviously we know we don't eat that. So that leaves us with meat, or animal products. This food is the most sought after food by humans for millions and millions of years. And if we did not consume and evolve in it, we would not be here today. There's a lot of propaganda in the media that's saying meat is bad for you and it causes heart attacks or increases your cholesterol and increases your chance of cardiovascular disease. This is total nonsense. There is not even one single study that shows that meat causes heart attack. It's all this epidemiological, nutritional bullcrap studies that compare people who eat plants to meat eaters. A meat eater is considered someone who eats McDonald's, which is 90% not meat, and they consider just because you have a quarter pounder patty, you're a meat eater. It's absolutely inane, and people who are eating McDonald's or these meat consumers are also more likely to be smoking. They're also more likely to be drinking, staying up late, not getting sunlight, and exercising. So it's all just correlation, and it's so obvious that meat is not the cause, and there is zero causative data that shows that meat causes cancer or heart attacks or any of this nonsense you hear. Actually, new studies show that meat is actually protective for your heart, and meat is actually protective for a lot of these new diseases. Let's think about it. 50 years ago, rates of heart attack and all these diseases weren't very high, and we're eating quite a bit of meat. However, in the last 50 years, this low-fat campaign has been shoved down our throats, and everyone has reduced meat and cholesterol by, I believe, 33%. And let's see what's happened. Well, we've reduced meat and cholesterol, and our heart attacks have tripled, our cancer's tripled, our obesity has tripled, and our dementia and Alzheimer's has tripled. So it's obvious, anyone with a brain can see that meat is not the issue. So we can just look back into history and we know that humans are carnivores. We have the stomach pH of vultures and a lot of animals you may consider scavengers. Our stomach pH is around 1.5, which is very highly acidic, because we would scavenge off the remains of carcasses from kills found in nature, which could be left out for ages and had heaps of bacteria, so our body had to adapt. And if we evolved on plants, there would be no reason for our stomach to be highly acidic. Also, there is really good evidence in terms of nitrogen-15 stable isotope testing, which analyzed the bones and fossils of humans from millions of years ago, and it actually found that humans were highly carnivorous, even similar to those at the top of the food chain, like lions, for example. Also, have you ever seen a caveman painting of a salad? No, that's bullcrap. There's so many caveman paintings of 10 cavemen with spears surrounding a huge mammoth about to eat it. There are many tribes in the world who have not changed due to Western society and actually still eating carnivore diets. If you look at tribes such as the Hadza tribe, they are extremely healthy and they are 100% carnivore. They are all extremely tall, lean, muscular. They have no chronic disease. They don't even know what cancer or diabetes is, or they don't even know what heart attacks is because no one has it there. We also have the Inuits and the Eskimos who have no access to plants. And if you look at all the Eskimos, they're extremely healthy and all their teeth is absolutely amazing. Most of you may have heard of the Genghis Khan tribe. They rode around on horses and they drank horse blood, and they'd eat maybe every 5 days and wait for their horse to die and then feast on maybe 5 pounds of horse each. They absolutely dominated and conquered most of Asia and Europe, and they are the largest continuous empire to ever exist. Now, if you compare the people of Genghis Khan, who were huge, dominant, and the men were so masculine as well, compare that to today, it's a bit of a joke, isn't it? Well, what's changed today and then? Well, a lot of things have changed, but one of the main things that's changed since the agricultural revolution 15,000 years ago is the introduction of plants. Now, plants were first seen as starvation foods to help stop people in famine, and they have rice and it was quite easy to make. But look what's happened to our health. In the last 15,000 years, our testosterone has went from 1500 to 545. Our brain size has decreased by 10% in 15,000 years, from 1500 cubic centimeters to 1350 cubic centimeters. And last but not least, our height has decreased from 6'3" to 5'9" on average. To me, and a lot of you maybe as well, it seems quite obvious that humans are carnivores, hence we should be on the carnivore diet. We have a lot of issues that are unnatural, such as cancer, diabetes, obesity, heart attacks, all these autoimmune conditions that we never used to have. So why don't we just revert to our natural way of eating to reverse these unnatural issues? I really hope you learned a thing or two. Please consider liking, commenting, and subscribing so this message gets sent to a wider audience, including all the vegans who thinks that their diet is the optimal diet. Check out this video here.